Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with the next installment in the Old World videos. You guys have been enjoying them quite a lot. There's up to 70 videos in that playlist so far. One of the current projects that I'm working on is building a modernized Warriors of Chaos army. So as you all know, if you've been watching through my videos, I'm a huge fan of the Old World and a huge fan of the older miniatures for the Old World. There's something extremely satisfying about taking old, unloved miniatures that have been forgotten in cases or never built from years past and giving them a new lease of life and then seeing them being pushed around the tabletop. I am doing that with the majority of my armies. But my Warriors of Chaos army, I'm challenging myself to take nothing but beautiful new Age of Sigmar miniatures, converting them over to Old World square bases and building an entire modern army. This is what I have so far: Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Infantry, Warriors of Chaos, Chaos Knights, Chaos Lord on Dragon, and this guy's going to be standing for a Demon Prince. I also have access to some Chosen, which I intend to base up as well. So all in all, I'm getting quite close to having a decent enough sized army to start the painting process. I've already done a video showing you guys how to paint the Lord on Dragon, which is what I'm using this guy as, and a standard Warrior of Chaos. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to tackle my Marauders and get one of those painted up in today's video. So that should be a lot of fun. I think obviously they're a little bit more complicated than a standard Warrior of Chaos, as there's so many different textures and materials on those guys. Before I get into that video though, I just want to say a huge thank you to my patrons. Without you guys, I couldn't do this, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you're interested in getting involved with that yourself, there's a bunch of reasons, a bunch of benefits, all linked down in the description below. Access to a private Discord server and an extra vlog style video are just two of the awesome reasons to get involved. So if you want to get involved, check it out below. Okay, without further ado, let's get stuck in to this Marauder infantry. Okay, this is the Marauder Chieftain that I have chosen for today's video. He is an epic piece. He is not a standard Marauder miniature. He does not come in the standard squad of Marauder Infantry. He comes in this set, the Dark Oath set, which is Brand's Oathbound, which is one of the sets from like the kind of online videos that they do on Warhammer Community or Warhammer Plus, Warhammer TV, one of those random Warhammer words. And I'm going to be using this guy who is their chieftain. He is epic. He stands taller and stronger and bigger, better equipped, better armed. And he definitely seems like the leader of my Marauder warband. I would be very tempted to use this guy as a Chaos Lord, whatever the lowest rank Chaos Lord is. So he is an actual Chaos champion leading my warband of Marauders. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I gave him a spray of Chaos Black and then a Zenithal of Grey Seer, quite a heavy Zenithal, mostly a full coat. But the underneath part of him is a little bit darker, and it allows him to take contrast beautifully. So as you've seen, we started with Agro's Dunes and we did some of the bits that are going to be kind of paler. So obviously the like fluffy bits around his ankles, and then the pelt across his front and goes down around his back as well. I'm going to do in a brighter kind of animal fur tone as opposed to anything darker. Then we're going to go over to Gulliman Flesh, and we're going to paint in all the flesh on this miniature. And I referred to the box because I wasn't sure which of it was flesh and if he was wearing a shirt. Turns out he was not. So I picked out all those bits as well. Now this miniature is definitely going to go through quite an ugly stage. I've talked about ugly stages quite a few times while doing videos. The concept is that he is not going to look well for quite a long period of time during painting. This is something that worries a lot of miniature painters, where they'll get to a stage and the miniature just looks so bad that they get completely disheartened and they do not finish the paint job. I implore you to push through those feelings when you're having a bad time painting and finish the model off. I promise you it will all come together at the end and you will be super happy. I pushed through pretty much every miniature that I've ever painted, and I think I've only ever been disappointed by about 2 or 3 paint jobs out of hundreds. So I think that's a fairly decent ratio, and it's a fairly good reason, I think, to push through. After that, we grabbed some Black Templar contrast and I did the belt around his waist plus his boots. Blood Angels Red. This is the one where you can kind of change this in and out. This is the the accent color, the kind of highlight color, not the highlight color, but you know, the primary color that I'm going with, make the miniature pop. So all the other colors you can do the same, but for instance, if you want these to be like Nurgle Marauders, maybe the best thing to do is swap it out for like a pale green, or purple for Slanesh, or blue for Zinch, or you know what I mean. I'm not necessarily going with Khorne, but my Warriors of Chaos are going to have all red capes. So I decided to help him tie into the rest of the army. He would do that as well. Then it was time for some lead belcher for all of the metallic parts. So this guy, like I said, is a nice hero. He's wearing more armor than most of the standard Marauders is. So he has nice shin pads. He's got a bit of extra kind of gladiatorial armor down his arms. Heads of his awesome axes. And then a few other bits and pieces. We're going to go for gold. This guy, like I said, is a slightly higher rank, so maybe he has earned a little bit more prestige, a little bit better equipment, better spoils from some of the engagements. So his armored kind of cod piece, if you will, big belt buckle is going to go gold, and then I'm going to give him his big molded demonic shoulder pad on his right side is going to go that gold treatment as well. With all of those done, it's time to shade the miniature. And like I said, he still doesn't look fantastic, but that's okay. Even with the shade, he's not going to look amazing, but as we start to go through the highlight process and we make the model pop, I think it looks really nice. So I went for Agrax Earth Shade, a brown shade, and I'm going to apply this to the entire miniature. Like I said, this guy is a marauder. He is not a high-ranking member of the Warriors of Chaos army. He's a scavenger. He does the best that he can, and he kind of claims as much glory as he can. He's not even as much of a rank of a single Chaos Warrior. Therefore, his equipment is kind of scavenged and kind of, you know, it's not polished, it's not clean, it's not new, it's not demonic, it's not forged by Chaos Dwarves or anything. It's just old battered sheet metal, if you will. So having it have that brown tinge is really simple and really nice. Okay, time to go for the skin. So we're going to start with the Cadian flesh and then jump up to Kislev flesh for highlighting the skin. Now, what I have done, and I once again did not record it, is after the first highlight, the coat that I'm putting on right now, which is of course the Cadian flesh tone, I do get some Berserker red shade. I applied from my wet palette, so it's nice and thinned. I give it a nice coat of that, just add some warmth back into the skin. So that's what you're looking at right now. I forgot to show it, but that's what I do. And then I do a final highlight of Kislev flesh, really, really fine highlight, kind of dot, really scrappy highlight. Not trying to go for any solid coats. You want that really warm, rich, darker tone to kind of bleed through the majority of the skin tone. And remember, it's not just his face. I'm just showing you that as the example. It runs down both his arms, his chest, a bit of his torso, his abs. They're all kind of showing through different places. So make sure you are going through and finding all the little bits of skin and following the same stages. With that done, it's time to start pulling some of the other colors up. So Catachan flesh is going to be used for all of the brown straps. Obviously, he has a leather straps holding on his kind of his cape and some of his armor, his greaves. So try and find all those belts and straps and stuff and give them a coat of Catachan flesh. Just add a very quick highlight. It's not important. No one's going to be looking at those particular parts, but it's nice to make them pop just a little bit. So if any scrutinous eyes do tend to linger on your miniature, it is going to look finished. You can spend a little bit more time on his legs, make those straps a different color, but I didn't bother. Like I said, I don't think they're going to stand out a lot with this model. So I'm loath to spend more time on him than I need to, as there's another 20 of these miniatures to paint for my squad of 21. And any stages that I can cut out is going to save me an immense amount of time on such a complex unit. Ushabti bone was then brought in, and this is a kind of a key feature, so this will be something that I pay attention to. It's one of those funny ones, but I'm going to go for the same color that I did all the base coats. So all the Agaros Dune bits are going to get a Ushabti bone highlight. And it is simple, just a very simple, very careful highlight. And as you can see, going up those animal furs and going for each individual strand, giving it a quick highlight. It sounds slow and tedious, but it actually doesn't take a lot of time at all. The more you do it, the quicker you'll get. So across an entire unit. I don't know how many animal pelts are on it, but I think it makes a nice difference. Then it's time to run up the red bits. So Mephiston Red and Evil Sun Scarlet will be the two reds that I decide to use to highlight. One is going to be the mid-tone and one is going to be the final highlight. I am kind of sick and tired of saying this. Maybe I should just stop using it so I don't have to repeat myself. You notice that I used the Mephiston Red Air and I will use the Evil Sun Scarlet Air paints. They're basically just pre-thinned paints by Games Workshop. Some of them don't work like that. Some of them are too pale. But the reds and blues and greens, they all work fantastically as just pre-thinned paint, and they're double the size of pots. So like this is straight off out of the pot and it works absolutely beautifully. So it's up to you whether you want to use that information, you want to ignore it. Normal Mephiston Red and normal Evil Sun Scarlet will do just as well. You'll just probably have to thin them down a little bit. And as you can see, making it pop. Now, like the collar that goes up around his neck that then goes back around the fur pelt, it's meant to be like flayed skin or something, but I kind of like it being red cloth. I like to break up all the dark browns and beiges and skin tones with that pop of color. So I decided to do it in the red. You can, of course, go and do it as a brown color if you want to, but I think it looks really cool. Jumping over to Lead Belcher for the final highlight and all the metallics. And like I said, this is all the metallics, both silver and gold. Nice touch highlights, just catching the raised areas, giving that kind of scratchy result. I'm going to leave that nice kind of brown shaded metallic behind on all the areas. Will make this guy look kind of the way I want him, as, like I said, the dregs of the army. He's supposed to look like a barbarian. He's not supposed to be pristine. He's not supposed to be perfect. finish off basing him. And we are left with our finished Dark Oath Chieftain, which I will lead my Marauder warband into battle. I know Marauders aren't particularly useful in Warhammer the Old World currently, but I'm trying my best not to duplicate units across my army. I'm trying to have very diverse, kind of paint as many different units as possible and just learn to use them kind of style. Here's what he looks like in the front rank of my Marauder unit. I think it looks pretty gnarly. I think he stands out a mile, and I think when that whole unit is done, it's going to look absolutely phenomenal. Here's some finished kind of pictures of him up close, what he might look like on a tabletop, giving you an idea. I'll even show you a bit of the back so you can see how that cape did turn out with the kind of fur all down the back of it as well. All I can say is I'm really pleased with the result. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and feel free to copy along as much as you want. Okay guys, and there we have it, my finished Marauder infantryman. He was actually the champion of my Marauder unit. He was a lot of fun to paint. He has a very interesting color scheme. I think he turned out really fantastically. I'm now going to remove him from his painting handle, and I'm going to place him in the front rank of my Marauder unit. It's the first time I'm seeing him in there. I'm going to have a cheeky look. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm really happy with that. So obviously I want to get this army more and more painted as time goes on. I reckon painting the warriors and the knights are actually going to take no time at all. If you see the video I did for painting that Warriors of Chaos, they are incredibly quick to paint. The Marauders and the Marauder Horsemen are definitely more involved, and they will take a little bit more time, so I'm going to have to start chipping away at them piece by piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It costs you absolutely nothing. It makes a huge difference to me, and you guys will get updated on all future uploads. If there's any other specific Warrior of Chaos miniatures or Old World miniatures that you want to see done in a video that aren't in the playlist yet, please put that in the comments below and I will get back to all of you. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.